Good morning. Joining me today is the number one Billboard Jazz and Western Swing vocalist, Deborah Silver, who will be appearing Saturday, July 26th at Hinman Auditorium, 10150 Bonita Beach Road, right here in Bonita Springs. Welcome, Deborah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Monica, I am delighted to join you, and I'm really excited to meet everybody in Bonita Springs when I'm at the Hinman Auditorium with Patrick Lamb.
Oh, it's going to be so great. Now, tell our Jazzy 107.5 listeners about your singing career, because a little birdie told me even Quincy Jones raved about your voice.
Oh my goodness. I got to tell you, I feel very, very blessed. I just came out with an album. It hit number one with the legendary Count Basie Orchestra. And what happened is during COVID, I really wanted to help other musicians and just everyone in the show business world. I mean, from the ushers to the, food venues, to the people, who worked at the theaters, to the performers on stage and backstage. So I wrote a song. It was a big hit, Monica, called the COVID-19 Blues. And I wrote it with a 12-time Grammy-nominated songwriter, Dennis Lambert. And Dennis has written for so many different genres. I mean, he's written Night Shift for the Commodores, and We Built This City, Jefferson Starship, and Ain't No Woman Like the One I Got. I mean, he just bounces so many great genres. And so we wrote this together, and I wanted it to help others. So we divided all the funds raised from it to the Actors Fund, which helps actors, and with the Jazz Foundation, which helps the Actors Fund helps actors and everybody in the theater business as well. And the Jazz Foundation helps the musicians and everyone who was having a hard time during COVID. And I was working on that with he's the music director for the Jazz Foundation of America, and his name is Steve Jordan. And I was telling him about my idea that I wanted to record an album of jazz versions of classic rock and roll songs.
Wow.
And the next thing I know, he's producing the album, and he brings in the Count Basie Orchestra. And while we're working together, this incredible thing happened. In fact, I was actually in a Zoom call with him when he got the call. He got the call to be the replacement drummer for the Rolling Stones when Charlie Watts passed away.
Wow.
And so this project took us about 4 years because we were splitting up times when he could be in the studio with us and he was on the road and in the studio with Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones. So it turned into quite the project, but we're just thrilled that it's finally out, and it's really been generating some incredible response from people. Enjoy a different take on these rock and roll songs. And this past week, this past Sunday, I was at the historic jazz club in New York, Birdland.
Oh my
goodness! And we did an album. Yeah, we did an album release event, and it was really incredible because so many of these rock and roll, legendary people from the entertainment business were there, and they all just said, "We can't believe what you've done with the songs," and they were thrilled. And one more really crazy thing is I did "Baby I Love Your Way" by Peter Frampton.
Yes,
and you've heard, I'm sure your listeners at Jazzy 107.5 know of John Clayton, because he's an incredible teacher and bass player.
Yes.
And of course, son Gerald. And so John did the arrangement on "Baby I Love Your Way," and we recorded it. And it was a really beautiful ballad. And someone sent it to Peter Frampton. And the next thing I know, I get this phone call. And it's this British voice, and he says, "Hello, is this Deborah Silver with the incredible voice?" And I said, "Well, you're half right. It's Deborah Silver." But Monica, it was like I felt like I was dreaming. He starts telling me, he goes, "You sang that song the way I wrote it in my head. I heard it that way." And he was thanking me. And I'm, saying, no, thank you for your brilliant musicianship and your gorgeous song. And he ended up playing on it with us. So when people hear it, they'll hear his gorgeous guitar solo on it.
That's amazing. That is really amazing. Now, who are some of the artists that you have performed with?
Well, I have made some duets with some really just incredible people in the business over the years, like Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers.
Yes,
and also I've crossed over genres, and they've crossed over to be with me. Ronnie Millsap, who went from country to pop.
right.
He and I a big band arrangement of Jambalaya, and it was arranged by Charlie Colello. And Charlie lives here in Florida. He is 86 years old. He was one of the original members of Frankie Valli's Four Seasons.
Wow.
And he's written arrangements for Barbra Streisand and Frank Sinatra, and of course wrote a lot of the Four Seasons arrangements. And so he wrote this incredible big band arrangement for Ronnie and me. And he also wrote one for Pam Tillis, who is known. I mean, she was one of the Country Music Awards, vocalist of the year. But what people don't know about her is she loves jazz, and she's at heart a jazz. So Charlie wrote the original arrangement of Southern Nights for Glenn Campbell, and then he rewrote a big band jazz version for Pam Tillis and me. And I've had duets with Freddie Cole, Nat King Cole's brother. Freddie's one of the greatest jazz singers ever. And Steve Tyrell. Steve Tyrell's produced all of these. And I have one that we have not released yet. We're holding on to it with Deeds, Diane Shore.
Wow, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So we did Lady is a Tramp, and it's never been done that we know of by two women. And we've been holding on to it because I had this other project in the works with the Count Basie Orchestra. But on that album alone, I mean, obviously I know your listeners or in the jazz world, of course, at 107.5, they all know Kurt Elling.
Right.
And Kurt and I have a duet. We did a version of Soft Cell's Tainted Love.
Okay.
And it was really a really cool take, because that song is, we turned it into almost a conversation. And Trombone Shorty is on it with me, and he sings Joy to the World, the one from Three Dog Night. And he also plays trombone. And we did it as a strut, just a big band strut. And then I'm sure your listeners must know Wycliffe Gordon, the trombonist.
Yes, yes.
I met Wycliffe when we were performing on the Jazz Cruise, and he does a version on the album with me of Rock and Roll. And when we were meeting on it and deciding, Monica, how to make this work on the album, Steve Jordan came up with the idea and said, I hear this is like a Fats Waller style tune. So the pianist started playing it in the style of Fats Waller, and I started singing it. And the next thing you know, we've got the arrangement, and Wycliffe and I are recording a duet. And then he plays the trumpet on it as well.
That's really amazing. Now, Deborah, how did this Saturday's date with Patrick Lamb come about?
That you just took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to tell you. I'm so thrilled. Patrick is a new friend of mine. He has moved to South Florida from Oregon, where he's hit the Billboard charts, and he's a super talent. He's an incredible saxophone player. And we bonded because he's also played with Diane Shore. And he tours with Gino Vanelli and others. And so I knew him as a saxophone player. And then he started talking to me and said, "Hey, I'd love to have you be a special guest in my shows." And I said, "That's great." And he said, "Maybe we can even sing some duets. I sing." So I want you to know I got together with him recently to look at the music. When he started singing, he just blew me away. I just said,
Wow.
wow, that voice, that voice. So he and I are going to be doing the version from my album of Old Time Rock and Roll on Saturday night. And I'm thrilled to do that. And he's so generous and going to have me sing a few other songs from that album. And he's just such a lovely person. He is a real, just a real big talent. And South Florida and all of Florida welcomes him to this state. He's usually, I think he tours like 200 days a year. I mean, he's always gone, but whenever we have him in Florida, it's always fun to get together. And we've been a guest on other people's shows, and that's how we met. We actually met through Rob Russell, who has guest spots on Legends Radio. And Rob is also a performer in the South Florida area, and he always brings in, he used to run the shows at the Colony Hotel in Palm Beach, where they brought in a lot of guests from around the world. And I happen to be one of them who would perform in the Royal Room. The Royal Room, I guess I can best compare it with the Carlisle, Cafe Carlisle in New York.
Okay.
Very, very intimate space, but fantastic shows. And Rob ran and produced that room. And then after it closed, Rob began performing and collecting a lot of the performers he knew from that room to come and join him. And that's where he basically is the reason we, Patrick and I met. And the cool thing is Rob is going to be coming with me. And we're just going to have so much fun on Saturday. It'll be like, old home week, seeing all the friends. And I'm just thrilled to meet all the people in the Bonita Springs audience and share with them my new album. And I think they're in for a real treat watching and hearing Patrick and his entire band, just top-notch, first-class musicians.
It sounds like a really wonderful evening, and I'm so glad that you came on to talk about it. Now, what are some of your upcoming projects, Deborah, that you can share with our Jazzy 107.5 listeners?
Well, thank you so much for asking. I have a PBS special coming out, and I think it's going to air sometime around October. I'm part of a series out of Nashville called Recorded Live at Analog, and it's about an hour show. And I do a lot of the songs from Basie Rocks on it, as well as I am able to share some of my songs from my Glitter and Grits album, which was an album I recorded with a phenomenal Western swing band. They are called Asleep at the Wheel. Ray Benson leads them. They've been together for over 50 years. It may be around 52, 53 years now. And Willie Nelson actually was the one who started and put them together and helped Ray put this group together. And they are probably the number one Western swing Grammys. And we took songs from the Great American Songbook and gave them a whole new flavor, just twisted them up into Western swing flavor. And I named it Glitter and Grits, and I kind of think that's more of my mantra now. I just feel that it's one of my most fun projects. And, there's so many songs written about heartbreak and breaking up, but
yeah.
I think music really should be for joy. And that was just such a joyous, fun album. It came out appropriately during 2020, and it was really to lift everyone's spirits and bring some joy to the world. No pun intended with my new song. But anyway, so I've got songs like That Old Black Magic and I Got Rhythm, and just classic Great American Songbook songs. And so that I'm doing that on my PBS special, and I actually have a wonderful fiddle player who joins me in that show. And it's also led by music director Rick Creevy. Now, Rick is Dina Martin's music director. Dina, of course, is the daughter of Dean Martin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he also tours with Lulu from To Sir with Love was her big song. And he's just all over Europe and London with her. And he tours with me, and he's so fantastic. And so I can't wait for people to see it when they can check the local listings. It will say it's part of a series, and it will also be on their YouTube. It's recorded live at Analog. And I've got shows coming up. I'm going to be in San Francisco in August 8th, and I'm in Los Angeles at Catalina Jazz Club September 17th. And it's going to be a lot of fun in LA because so many of my friends and people I worked with in the business are there. And you never know who might show up. I think maybe Arturo Sandoval may come with his trumpet. So,
oh my goodness.
And he's actually on our album. He plays on Paint It Black. It's the Rolling Stones song we did. And that one, Monica, it's so interesting because we worked so hard figuring out these songs. I mean, I've never listened to so much classic rock in my life, but I was listening to it because I kept thinking, how would we swing it? How would it sound as a jazz song? And it was a little bit of a hurdle because so many of the lyrics just weren't right for me to sing as a jazz singer, from these classic rock and roll songs. And so I worked, with our producers, Steve Jordan, and then the co-producers, the director of the Count Basie Orchestra, Scotty Barnhart, who also lives in Tallahassee, Florida. So it's really cool. A lot of talent from Florida on this. And we just said, Steve, you're now a member of the Rolling Stones. You choose the Stones song. We're not. So he talked to Mick Jagger, who told him that this song was their most played, most popular song of all times. And it was very surprising to us because I would have thought it would have been Satisfaction or something else. Mm-hmm. And so we had no choice. We had to swing it, and we did it to Paint It Black. And John Clayton did the arrangement, and he did this fiery Latin rhythm. So Scotty Barnhart, the director of the orchestra, said, there's one person who hits those high notes on the trumpet, and we are getting him to come in. So he called up his friend Arturo Sandoval, and Arturo is on it. And then I've since become friends with Arturo. I have talking about things coming up in the future. I have, at times, I actually have a guest show on Legends Radio as well out of Palm Beach. Okay. And it's also on it's legendsradio.com. And so I just did a show where I interviewed Arturo, and he is such a fascinating man. I mean, everything he's been through and coming from Cuba, and that talent, I mean, he's just incredible on that trumpet. But what I don't know if people realize, he also plays the piano, and he told me he really enjoys playing the piano even more than the trumpet.
Wow, that's interesting.
Fun, isn't that interesting? It's a fun jazz fact, I thought.
Yeah, that is. Well, before we let you go, how can our Jazzy 107.5 listeners find you, Deborah?
Oh, well, thank you for asking, Monica. So they can go on social media. I'm at Deborah Silver Music, and it's spelled the biblical way, Deborah, like Deborah Silver Music. And also, so it's Deborah Silver Music on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. Twitter, I don't really do too much on Twitter, but it is Deborah B. Silver. And then my website is where they can find all the information of my upcoming shows. And there's so many reviews pouring in from our album, which is called Basie Rocks. I don't even know if I told you the name of it.
No, you didn't tell us that yet. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Basie Rocks can be found on any streaming channel. It's also on Amazon. In fact, I think they have it on sale now for $10. It's crazy. The first 2 weeks, it's sold out on Amazon. It's sold out at Target. It's sold out at Walmart. It's sold out every place. I mean, I couldn't even buy my own,
my goodness.
album. And so I'm glad they've restocked, and they're back, and now they're on sale. But people can stream it. It's super easy, and I would love it. That people listen to it, and if any of your listeners happen to hear it, please write to me and mention you heard me on Monica Starks' show, and I'll write you back. And I'd love to stay in touch with all the people that I'm looking forward to meeting in Bonita Springs. Such a beautiful area.
Yes, it is. We just thank you so much, Deborah Silver, for joining us today on Coastal Conversations. Deborah Silver and Patrick Lamb are performing Saturday, July 26th at Hinman Auditorium at 7:30 p.m. at 10150 Bonita Beach Road, right here in Bonita Springs, Florida. Deborah, thank you so much. We really wish you continued success.
Oh, Monica, it is my honor to be on your show, and thank you so much. And thank you for everything you do in the jazz world. I mean, you're keeping it going, and we really are grateful for you.
Hey y'all, it's Deborah Silver, and nothing would make me happier than waking up tomorrow and finding out that I've got you as a new YouTube subscriber. And you can watch all my videos. You can do that here and here.